Hi everyone, this is Abel again, and in this presentation I will be discussing the SSH protocol and how I configure it using OpenSSH on a Linux server. I will also explain how I verified the configuration and provide 3 important security recommendations to improve the SSH security. What is SSH? SSH stands for Secure Shell, and it is a network protocol used to securely connect to a remote system. It allows administrators and users to access servers over a network in a safe and encrypted way. Unlike other protocols such as Telnet, SSH encryptions, or communications, which means that sensitive information like usernames, passwords, and commands cannot be easily intercepted. This makes the SSH a critical tool for managing systems securely, especially in environments where remote access is required. OpenSSH on Linux is the most widely used implementation of the SSH protocol on Linux system. It is included by default in many Linux distributions and provides a secure way to log into systems remotely, transfer files, and execute commands. OpenSSH uses strong encryption methods to protect data during transmission. Because of its reliability and security, it is the standard tool used by system administrators to manage Linux servers remotely. To begin the configuration, I install OpenSSH on my Linux server using the apt package manager. The specific package I installed was OpenSSH-server, which is responsible for enabling the system to accept incoming SSH connections from other machines. This step is important because it prepares the server for secure remote access and ensures that all necessary background services are properly set up. By installing this package, I made it possible for external systems, such as my Kali Linux machine, to connect to the server securely over the network. This installation serves as the foundations for all the SSH functionality that I configure in the following steps. After installing the OpenSSH, I start the SSH service using the systemctl command to ensure that the service was actively running on the server. I also enable the service so that it automatically starts every time the system boots up. This step is very important because it guarantees that SSH will always be available without requiring manual startup each time the server is restarted. By keeping the service enabled, I ensure consistent and reliable remote access to the server at all times. This is especially important in real-world environments where servers need to be accessible continuously for administration and maintenance tasks. To verify that SSH was configured correctly, I used the command system ctl status SSH. This allowed me to confirm that the service was active and running properly. I also checked that the system was listening on port 22 which is the default port used by SSH. Verifying the service status is a critical step because it ensures that the server is ready to accept incoming secure connections from other systems. Next, we have the Nmap validation, which I use in the Kali Linux to perform against my Linux service. Well, basically to scan against my Linux service. The command I used was nmap-sb followed by the server IP address, and this scan checks for open ports and identifies the services running on those ports. The result showed that port 22 was open and running the OpenSSH service. This confirms that SSH is properly configured, accessible from the network, and functioning as expected. This step is very important because it provides external validation that the configuration is working correctly. Now we have the 3 hardening recommendations. And to improve the security of SSH, there are several important hardening recommendations that should be implemented. First, disabling root logging prevents attackers from directly accessing the system using their root account. This reduces the risk of brute force attacks targeting the most powerful accounts on the system. The second one is using SSH key authentication instead of passwords greatly increases security. SSH keys are much more difficult to track and to crack compared to passwords, and they provide a more secure way to authenticate users. Third, changing the default port from 22 to another port can help reduce automated attacks. Many attackers scan only common ports, so changing the ports can reduce the number of unauthorized connection attempts. Together, these recommendations significantly improve the overall security of the SSH service. In conclusion, SSH is an essential protocol for secure remote access to systems. Using OpenSSH, I successfully install, configure, and verify SSH on my Linux server. I also validate the configuration using an Nmap scan from Kali Linux, confirming that the service is accessible. Additionally, by applying security hardening recommendations, the system can be better protected against potential attacks. This completes the configuration and demonstrates a secure implementation of SSH. And at the end, we have all the references that we use in order to finish this project. And yeah, thank you so much for your help.